Well, good evening. Welcome to episode number 32 of the 97 Octane Hockey Show. So we'll recap, I guess, right out of the gates last week. Oilers extended their winning streak to 8 and then began a losing streak that is extended to 2. Joining us tonight is Tesia Bennett and Mr. Kirk Morris from the Heavy Hockey Network. Good evening, you two.
How's it going?
Not so bad.
Good evening.
Good evening. The first thing I want to do is I want to play a little video that shows this little kid from Chicago, his ability to score goals. So I'll show that, and then we'll get everybody's thoughts on that one.
I saw you guys talking to him.
Oh, yeah. Here's Bedard off the stretch. Quick shot, and he scores! Over the left shoulder of Stuart Skinner. And Connor Bedard has his 12th of the year. Chicago strikes first. It's 1-0, and one of the men they came to see is on the board.
How fast he can get this puck off. Not only the quickness, the power, but the accuracy. Takes the outlet pass, goes underneath the stick of that code, who closes quick. So it looks like he has him, pushes him to the backhand, but he brings it backhand to forehand, and it's a lightning fast release. Watch this, forehand bam, up over top of the glove to Stuart Skinner. The point from the outlet pass in the defensive zone sends Bedard.
All right, so we'll go around the horn. We'll let Tess go first, and then Kirk, and then Bobby, and then I'll sum it up at the end.
Fast hands. Yeah, it's exciting to watch Bedard play. It's amazing to think he's only 18 years old and actually not that far past his 18th birthday. So it's pretty exciting. I think there was so much anticipation, having him come into the league just like there was with Connor McDavid. So it's pretty cool to see him do what he does best. So it sucks it was against the Oilers, but it was still neat to see the goal. So.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. He could stick and handle his way out of a phone booth, and what he can do when he doesn't shoot the puck, like his hockey IQ for him getting acclimated into the league so quickly. Like a lot of people are flabbergasted. After seeing what he did there in the dub, I'm not surprised. He was a man amongst boys there.
Fluke, one-hit wonder, kidding me, eyes closed. He wasn't even looking, just puck was rolling on him. He kind of roofed it lacrosse style. Sheesh, I do that probably 4 times a night at Beaumont pickup men's hockey. So, no, I mean, he's obviously very, very gifted. I've watched a few Hawks games this year already, and he's able to get one of these his patented little Bedard shots away like 2 to 3 times a game, where he's able to just wind one up. He's got that nice wrister or a nice quick snapshot like the one he showed here against Edmonton. He's going to be a joy to watch here for years to come, that's for sure.
Well, I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but Bouchard, man, what are you doing and letting get inside of you? That's the first thing that came to my head when I seen that. And then, he got a pretty good shot away through Ekholm's stick,
Yeah.
and he kind of had to change his grip a little bit to fire it. And man, did he get a lot on it! And it it was upstairs in a hurry. He definitely caught Bouchard off guard, and I would say Skinner as well. Hell of a shot. I think, he might have a future in this league too as a little bit of a goal scorer. After that, I thought the Oilers settled in and played a pretty good game. That was really about the only dangerous chance that Chicago had, and they made it count.
Well, you can watch all the video you want, but even like for a guy like Bouchard or Ekholm there, like until you face him, right? You don't believe it till you kind of see it and face it. So I think you're right, Durst. I think maybe he did catch those guys a little off guard, going, "Holy shit, this kid's that happened quickly. I wasn't quite ready for that." And that's how he's been able to do some damage this year so far. Shout out to Name Cardinal watching again, buddy. Nice to see you on board.
So I guess I probably should have did this before we went to the Bedard thing, but I'm pretty sure everybody that watches us knows all about Kirk, but they might not know all about Tess. So why don't you give us the history? I was going to put you inside of an Yzerman kind of face as our third line center that we needed, but I didn't do that. But why don't you start from sort of the beginning and your hockey experience from day one?
Yeah. So I grew up in the Detroit area. So, I've been a Red Wings fan since I was a kid. Huge Yzerman fan. He was my hockey idol growing up for sure. And still a fan of his today as doing his work as GM for the Red Wings. So I moved to Alberta in 2007, and that's when I became an Oilers fan. And, the team was not great in 2007. It was in the middle of, not the middle of, actually kind of like the start of the decade of darkness. And I kind of jokingly say sometimes that maybe I'm the reason why, but I've been a fan. My husband was born and raised in Edmonton, and he's always been an Oilers fan. And I just started watching, I followed the Oilers a bit before that, but then I became a fan once I moved to Alberta, and, I've been following them closely since 2007, and, certainly have become a pretty big fan. I remember some key moments. I remember when Jordan Eberle scored his first goal for the Oilers. Even going back before that, right before I moved to Alberta, I kind of, I was following the Oilers, and I remember the day that Ryan Smith got traded, and my now husband was so upset he boxed up all his Oilers stuff and said, "That's it, I'm done." That didn't last, but and so then of course it was exciting when he came back to the Oilers. Of course, Connor McDavid being drafted, getting to see him play. Lots of other players have, found their way into my heart. I'm a big Ryan Nugent-Hopkins fan, big Leon Draisaitl fan. It's been great. And I think one of the best things about being an Oilers fan is just the other Oilers fans and folks like you, and the Oilers fandom is in, maybe begrudgingly because I'm also a Red Wings fan, but and sometimes it's hard to kind of toe the line between two teams, but I think it'd be maybe different if the teams were like in the same division or, something like that. But we're there's a little bit of separation there. And it seemed like the teams were, kind of on a different trajectory. And this year's been kind of interesting. But that's kind of my story anyway. So, I follow two teams in the NHL. Normally I'd have my Yzerman jersey on or some Red Wings apparel tonight because they're playing. But since I knew I was going to be here, I thought I'd stick with my McDavid jersey. So
you're a team player, Tess. That's awesome, and I it's probably easier for you to kind of follow each team, being that they're not in the same conference anymore either.
Yeah, it's the Oilers and the Red Wings only play each other twice a year, and we used to go every year and watch. We'd get tickets to see the Red Wings play the Oilers when they'd come to Edmonton. So we'd usually splurge and get, better seats just so we could, see that one game. We haven't gone in a few years now, but, it's Detroit's one of those teams, they're original six team. They've had some great history. So if you go to see Detroit on the road anywhere, you see a lot of Red Wings jerseys. And so when I'd go to, Rogers Place or before that Rexall, you'd see a lot of Red Wings jerseys in the crowd. So I didn't feel so isolated, so alone. I didn't get razzed too much.
So have the Oilers usurped Detroit Red Wings as your favorite team, or is it still kind of?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. It's it's hard because one team is my hometown team. I'm always going to be a fan of theirs. But I guess maybe there's a bit of recency bias with the Oilers because, I'm, living and breathing Oilers every day, living in Alberta, living in the Edmonton area. So I don't know if I can say one team is, I'm more of a fan of one team versus the other. Sometimes it's nice to have another team to fall back on if one team's not doing so well. So it really isn't great when they're both struggling, but it can be exciting when they're both doing well. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I love them both for different reasons, I guess.
So in 06, when they met up in the first round, you were still a diehard Wings fan at that time?
I was still a diehard Wings fan. That was a heartbreaking series, and that was Steve Yzerman's last playoff series. He retired right after that. I remember shedding a lot of tears when the Oilers knocked the Red Wings out, knowing that was Yzerman's last game in the NHL. So yeah, and then shortly thereafter, I was, about a year later, I guess, moving to Alberta. So it was kind of weird.
So let's fast forward from Tuesday to Thursday, which saw us running into a brick fricking wall in Andrei Vasilevsky, turning aside 53 out of 57 shots. A game in which Edmonton probably should have walked away with 2 points and ended up walking away, losing 7-4. It looked like a blowout, but it really wasn't. I think that game might have shown us something that we probably already knew, but we really saw it firsthand. And that's, I think, the story of this season that was painted pretty clear to me. I think this team actually really needs to go out and get a goalie, and not just a goalie that can, help Stuart Skinner, give him some relief, but I think the ask needs to be more than that. I think we need to try to find, and I don't know how you do it, but we need to find a showstopper goalie, because if we get into a series in a cup or bust season, I think we need a goalie that can go toe-to-toe with some of the best in the league. And I'm not convinced that's Stuart Skinner. And it's nothing against Stuart Skinner, but he's a guy in his second year with the team. So he's young. And I think he needs about 4 years experience between now and April, and I don't think he's going to get it.
Well, is it a cup or bust season? Like, a question for all you guys. Do you figure this is the year to go all in, or hold off till next year with the way that they started out?
It's one or the other for me.
No, I disagree. I don't think it's a cup or bust season. I think it's a cup or bust 3 seasons. Like you're in that window now, and you go all in every chance you have. And we still have the team right now that can do it. There's so many things I disagree with what you just said about the goaltending Dursa that I don't even know where to begin. That's going to have to be a whole different episode in itself, I think.
No, give her. That's why we're here.
Well, number one, that's the best the Oilers had played all year in a losing cause. Mm-hmm. They did dominate the game. And yes, we got Andrei Vasilevsky. I don't even think it was so much as Stuart Skinner cost us the game. I do think, though, that, he didn't have his best game. A couple saves there might different story, but Vasilevsky was not going to lose this game to anybody. I don't care who would have been in net he was up against. Vasilevsky was bound and determined to be the best goalie on the ice that game. Any other goalie we're up against, we probably scored 7-8 goals that game as well. Like, Vasilevsky must have taken away 4 or 5 that were basically in the net before he decided to stop them. So I do think we need to improve our goaltending. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to go get goaltending. It'd be nice, but you're not going to get a showstopper. If you're getting a showstopper, you probably have to trade away like our bottom 6. Like, you're going to have to trade away something that's going to hurt us in other positions. And we can't take backward steps in any position right now. Even if we want to take forward steps, you have to get somebody to support Stuart Skinner. 1A, 1B at best. That's best case scenario. Other than that, just an upgrade from, nothing against Pickard. Obviously, he's done his best, and last game was his first real backward step since he's been called up. But he's not a guy that we can count to be a 1B. I don't think he's a career backup. Campbell is shitting the bed down the minors right now too. His last few games have been trash. So anything, we just need somebody to come up and support Skinner and hopefully make a 1A, 1B thing happen.
I'm gonna push back on that. Like,
push away.
yeah, like do you think Pickard's capable enough to get them, 50% of his starts wins? No.
No, like he's a career backup. Even when he went to the minors, he's been a majority of the time he's been a backup or a mentor to some young kid, or done a 1A 1B situation there. He's
So
a great stopgap. He's a great stopgap right now, so we don't blow up. You can count on him for, if we're gonna have him up here, I'd like to see him play one every 4 games until we decide what we're gonna do there with that other position. But no, he's not gonna be that guy that's gonna give us the depth we need there at that spot.
Okay, I'm going to zero in a little bit more. Do you think with the tandem of him and Skinner, you can still make the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know why you would just kind of go for like a little bit of a marginal, help. I don't think that's enough.
Well, how are you going to get big help? How are you going to big help? What are you going to sacrifice to get big help?
Lots of futures. I wouldn't go as far as my old man. He said trade Hyman because other people would want him. Yeah, but then that leaves a huge hole for us. But deal some futures. Like if you're in that window now, and I don't think you have 3 years, Bob. You've got this year.
You'd have to unload a shitload of futures to try and get a showstopper goalie. Like you're talking top 10 goalie in the NHL. Like you're giving away half your farm team for that.
Or 3 firsts. Yep.
And even worse yet, you have to deal with Campbell and his salary. Like
it's costing you 2 picks to get rid of Campbell and not have to take anything back, and they're going to be substantial picks. And then you're going to need another pick and maybe change to get that good piece in return.
I still say,
and I don't think that piece is there until the deadline.
I still say bring up Rodrigue, give him a little bit of a taste of the big club life there, see what he's got.
Yeah, have a C.
And then at the end of the year, buy out Campbell. That's probably your best bet. That's what's going to happen, because in order to get rid of him off your books, you're probably still going to have to retain a bunch. Mm-hmm. Plus, it's going to cost you in draft picks and whatever else.
Well, I'm not including 2 picks if they're asking me to retain.
No. Well, it's going to have to be a whole bunch. Yeah. I don't know, Tess, what do you think? Like, what's your take on all the good goaltending situation here?
Yeah, the goalie talk, and is there any position more maligned than Oilers goaltender? Pickard, I mean, I like Cal Pickard. He played in the Red Wings, organization for a number of years, and he was a capable AHL goalie. I think his career save percentages in the AHL is like 913, 914, something like that. So, and a fair number of wins, but that's in the AHL. He can come in and maybe steal some games for the Oilers, but I don't even know if he'd be your backup necessarily. I don't know if he could keep it going. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on the goalie situation. It's hard to get a really, the kind of goaltender I think that the Oilers might need. And I don't know if I trust this management to make the right move to get the right guy. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, there's that part of me that thinks that, maybe the Oilers can weather the storm. Stuart Skinner put together a pretty good, streak there before. Things haven't gone the best last 2 games, but I don't put that all on him either. Campbell's, I don't even know what to say about Jack Campbell. It's been such a disappointment. And I look at his contract and I just, I cringe. I don't know what the answer is. I think that a big part of me hopes that, Stuart Skinner will still pull through, but, is he a playoff goalie again? He's still young. This is only his 2nd full season in the NHL. We can hope, but maybe hope isn't enough. I really don't know what the answer is.
Well, there's been guys that come out of the blue before, a lot less experienced than Stuart Skinner. They end up winning the Stanley Cup. I mean, you want to go back. It's not fair to compare him to like Patrick Waugh in '86 or anything like that. But like even a guy like but like Hudobin was not really a proven starter at any point, and he led Dallas to Stanley Cup Finals. He was basically almost third in line there for that Dallas goaltending spot before he was kind of pushed to the limelight. Yeah, Aiden Hill wasn't even the starting goalie for for Vegas last year to begin the season. It was Thompson, and then when the playoffs start, they go with Laurent Brossoit, who played less games than Aiden Hill.
Yeah.
So again, if you make the NHL, you're already a top 100 goalie in the world. Any one of these guys is capable of going on a hot streak. Yes, I would love to have a top 10 NHL goalie because that gives you a better chance. Absolutely, it solidifies that position. But having said that, Connor Hellebuck's been like a top 5 goalie in the NHL probably the last 4 seasons or so. And how far has Winnipeg ever gotten with him? So it still doesn't guarantee you that spot. Aiden Hill's had more playoff success than Connor Hellebuck. But you would never take Aiden Hill over Connor Hellebuck, would you?
Was it Winnipeg and Montreal in that kind of messed up season where Montreal went on for the Stanley Cup for the Western Conference? Yeah, so I think he sort of a Canadian division, I guess, basically Stanley Cup semifinal is as far as Hellebuck's gotten, so that's pretty good. But
what about Cam Ward in 06? He was pretty much an unproven rookie too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Antti Niemi,
that's a good one. Yeah.
Bennington. I mean, yeah.
Yep. And Bennington was crazy because he was number 4 in their system, and Ville Husso got injured.
Before
it wasn't for, and they had a whack full of injuries. I think it was Moose. I forget what their number 2 goalie was. There was Husso and then Bennington, and he was just about ready to call it quits from what I read. He was somewhere, I think he was in San Antonio playing for their farm team or one of their farm teams. I don't know if it was the ECHL farm team or whatever, but he came in and he said, F all you guys, I just proved himself. Like he was literally nobody could touch him. Like that series versus Dallas was insane. Like just the way that he played.
It's so
and
much.
I still believe that there's something there with Rodrigue. Call me crazy.
No,
I don't think you're crazy.
I don't think you're crazy at all. I think we do that. I'm with you. I think we call him up and give him a shot. Give him a couple games, see what he's got. I mean, we kind of did that with Skinner too, early on, right? We called him up, a little stopgap, help with the injury sort of thing. In fact, we even sent him down after he had his first career shutout, I think. But
yeah.
So Rodrigue again, if he comes up, does shows well, maybe keep him a bit longer than you had initially planned, kind of thing, and see what we can ride out there for a bit. But I definitely wouldn't hang my hat on it going, hey, it's going to be a Rodrigue Skinner to get us there. But you can cross your fingers and hope for the best.
I hope they sort of give him a look at some point.
They're going to have to.
A part of me thinks they're going to keep running Campbell in the AHL to hopefully get him to a point where they can call him back up and, have him showcase him to deal him or something. So he shows that he can sort of play at this level again. But
in all fairness, that would be the ideal scenario.
Yeah.
If Jack Campbell could find that game that he showed for the majority of the time that he was in Toronto, and the game that he's shown in flashes in Edmonton here and there, just nothing sustainable. If we could get that Jack Campbell to come up here and, make that $5 million contract not look like the big shitbag that it is right now.
Yeah.
And even if he was a 1B, like seriously, a hot Jack Campbell, and even the way Stuart Skinner is now, that's damn good goaltending.
We'll take this one comment here from some stranger, and then I'll move on to a little bit of a different subject.
I don't know. He doesn't upgrade us, I don't think. I think he's the same. He's on the same tier as Stuart Skinner. I think we're just as good. We would do with Merzlikins what we're doing with Skinner now. We'd be playing him and hope he gets hot in time for the playoffs.
I don't like the idea of taking a flyer on a guy that you don't really know what you're going to get. It just might as well stay with status quo, because if you're going to do some of these moves, you're going to have to part with a bunch of futures to be able to move a contract, to be able to bring them in, and it might set you up for being in a worse spot. So that idea doesn't really do much for me.
He's better than what we have for depth. I mean, if we bring him in for 1A, 1B situation with Skinner, great. I mean, that does solidify things that way. He's not an upgrade from Skinner, but he definitely is an upgrade from, say, Pickard or even, obviously Jack Campbell. But again, what do we give up for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a funny feeling that Kekalainen there in Columbus will ask for Rodrigue along with Campbell and probably
Yeah.
another extras plus on top of that.
Yeah. And you might have a better goalie in Rodrigue already. Like,
Yeah. What do you figure there, Tess? I know it's swapping deck chairs on the Titanic right now talking about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, nothing against Merzlikins. You know, he's
No.
all right. I agree. Like I don't think he's really an upgrade from Skinner. But yeah, like I get really nervous about what the ask is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For someone who's had the number of NHL games that Merzlikins has. I don't like, the last thing I want this management to do is make a panic move and get rid of some key pieces that we actually still need. So
Okay. I'm gonna show some clips of the Panther game, and
Ouch! Do you have to?
I think it's the first game where sort of our defensive structure went out the window, and they need to find it again on this New York trip. So I'll show that, and then we can talk about things that are upcoming rather than things that were.
Those players on this line with Tkachuk and Bennett together. As Ekman Larson sends that puck deep. Sam Bennett looking for space, and they score off the stick of Verhaeghe. The Panthers have finally scored a goal in over 2 games here, and they take a 1-0 lead.
And then eventually they get possession back. Beautiful little pass right through to Verhaeghe, who beats his man back to that spot. And it's Bennett that finds him. He finishes. And Florida on the board. One is again off an entry into the zone. The Panthers have owned the walls here on the forecheck. They've done a tremendous job using the back of the net. That's how they got the first goal as well. This line was the culprit. It was Verhaeghe on a nice play by Bennett. Bennett puts it around. And this is maybe what he's talking about, is that he can't move with Tkachuk also in the blue paint with Nurse. Now you'll have to watch this as he goes to the net. Is he being pushed by Nurse, or does he get to that inside lane? And
helped for puck support. Barkov has it again. He enters the zone. Here comes Barkov. A pass in front. The Oilers took care of that. But the Florida Panthers pounce on it and get it back. Ekman Larson, a wrister into traffic. Picked it up. Wonderful stop. But the Panthers score once again. My, oh my, here. The Panthers in full control. Panthers scored 2 in 31 seconds.
yeah, hungry for goals. And again on the entry, they're just really owning loose puck battles, 50-50. They're coming up with it. Rodriguez with a nice recovery here. And then the shot. Nobody in that shooting lane, so it doesn't have to be a hard one. You can see Ekman Larson, who's always been able to wrist that puck well. That's 2 players standing right in front of Pickard. A third in Sam Reinhart as he comes from the side. Redirected by Forsling, the defenseman. Barkov creates the disturbance, and then...
So the first period, I was in attendance, I guess, on Saturday, and not exactly what I wanted, but the first period, man, at the end of it, I was pissed at the forwards. Like, what are you guys doing? And then the defense, and as the game went on, kind of were equal to the task of being lousy. Like, I think the fourth goal, I was mad at Ekholm in real time, and then I came home and I watched the highlights, and Ekholm played it right. He stayed on his left side, and it was actually Nurse that was on the ice with him. Nurse was in the middle of the ice and left the far right side for Janmark, and Janmark with a half-ass effort kind of got torched. But I would have liked to see Nurse on that far wall too to kind of defend there, and yeah. And I think the fifth goal was kind of a broken play, and Verhaeghe just roofed the puck top shelf as a Panther kind of skated through Pickard. I mean, people were mad at Pickard, but after you see that one, I don't know how he's supposed to see it. He's not a big goalie to begin with, and he's kind of down in his butterfly, and Verhaeghe's going top corner, but a guy just skated right through him just before the shot went. And I mean, Verhaeghe's a good shooter, so. Yeah.
2 things pop up to me when I see those highlights. Active sticks, protect the house. Both of them were not there. Like they were complacent again. And I hope, I know that they'll clean it up. It was a bad game, period. Plain simple. just not missed assignments, and
Yeah.
lack mistakes.
Yeah. No, it was not a good coverage day. It almost looked to me when they were playing that, and as much as people don't want to say they're not tired, they haven't played much. It was a very pedestrian hockey game. I mean, Kane was hitting people in the first period, but that was about it. Like, it was, I don't know, a decent crowd and all that in the Saturday night game, but it was a snoozer from the Edmonton standpoint. They woke up for sections in the second period, but yeah, not a great hockey game. And I guess
I thought that was the worst game that Drysdale had played in probably over 2 seasons.
Yeah, he seemed pretty disinterested, and that's probably.
I haven't seen him play that perimeter in a long time. He seemed flat-footed the entire time. He was hardly ever in the frame when there was a play going on. Usually he's pretty hard on the puck, and like he was just. It seemed like he was waiting for the puck to squirt loose. I had him down as playing a key role in probably 2 of the goals against. Where he was late getting back or lost a puck battle that ended up resulting in a goal. For me, that's going to be a one-off. That's not the way Leon's been playing. So everybody's going to have off nights, but man, as far as off nights go, this is one of Leon's shittiest nights I've seen.
You're getting a nomination, Bob, to be the Oilers' new goalie here.
Yeah, well, Name's very educated, so he knows what he's talking about. So we gotta take that as serious business. So. Yeah, obviously, Name. I mean, it's the elephant in the room, but I appreciate you bringing it up. But we kind of all knew that already, Name, but I appreciate it.
20 years ago. You need a time machine. So today, Oilers hopped on a plane and flew into New York for 3 games against the Islanders, the Devils, and the Rangers. And kind of by my calculations, I think they need to win 2 of them. So, before recess here at Christmas, they got to start winning 6 out of 10 at least of every hockey game if they want to make the playoffs. What do you think of the Islanders, Mrs. Bennett?
To be honest, I haven't followed a lot of the Eastern Conference teams this year, aside from the Red Wings, maybe a couple others. I feel like the Islanders are one of those teams that, certainly the Oilers could take care of, but I also feel like the Oilers sometimes struggle against the Islanders. So, yeah, but I think they're definitely beatable, if they play solidly. So, let's hope they have a better showing than they did on Saturday night. So, because the Islanders do have a couple of weapons. So, yeah, I see what Name's saying. Barzal's hot right now. Yeah, well, Barzal, you can never. That's not a guy that you want to play too loose around. That's for sure. He's got hands.
He's got hands. Brock Nelson's been playing decently too. They got some fast guys back on defense. Both their goalies are that's a pretty sustainable goaltending duo. It's their forward and defensive depth. I think that's where they struggle. I mean, they are overall big picture. They aren't a great team, but any team in the NHL can still beat any team on any given night, right? And like you mentioned there, Tess, like some of these weapons, especially like Barzal, you can't take these guys for granted.
Yeah, it's so hard to predict the games there with the Islanders. I remember I think it was about 3 seasons ago there, James Neal had that 4-goal night in the old barn there at Nassau. But like Bob said there, like if Sorokin's playing, like he could stop practically anything and make your life miserable, just like Vaz did the other night.
He could pull a Vasilevsky. That's what he could do.
Yeah, and same with Varlamov. I wouldn't shrug him off any too, because he's actually been playing damn good this year. I kind of followed the odd game here and there, and just kind of flying around the games that are on the league there one night, and I managed to catch a period there. I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and Varlamov was in net, and he stood on his head. I was actually impressed, but I think for the upcoming trip there before Christmas, 2 out of 3, they're pretty winnable games. Like with the Islanders and the Devils are pretty much floundering right now here and there. They're hot and cold, just like the Oilers. the biggest test, I think, will be in Madison Square Garden versus the Rangers.
That's the best team in the league.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, it'd be good to be 2-0 heading into that one with the chance to run the table.
Knobloch has them down doing like their 8-game segments, right? So he wants to go 5-3 in each of the 8-game segments. So we are into the second 8-game segment. First 8-game segment, we go 8-0. That's a pretty damn good start to your 5-3 thing. So now we've lost the first 2 games. So now we have to go 5-1 here over these next 6 to get our 5-3 goal for 8 games.
What do you think? What do you guys think they're going to end up on this trip?
On the trip?
Yeah. You think
3-0, baby.
3-0. All right. Heading into Christmas on a streak.
I'm gonna go 1-1-1. They get 3 out of 6 points, and you never know. I think the one of those games will be stingy, and it'll go to the actual shootout.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the Islanders game. I feel like a lot of times that when the Oilers and the Islanders play, they're real tight that way. Unfortunately, I don't think the Oilers are going to pull it off against the Rangers. That's going to be a tough one. Let's just hope it's not too ugly. And there's some positives out of that. So, but I definitely think they can beat the Isles and the Devils, or I think they can do the same. But fingers crossed.
I think they. If you're thinking about a blowout, I think they're more likely to get blown out by the Rangers at home than on the road. And I don't know why that is, but I feel like that's the way it is.
I don't know. Last year, they had a Hail Mary there last year. Like, they had a pretty darn good comeback, and that kind of re-energized them. They're going into January, as far as you can remember. There, like, Dylan Holloway had a lights out game there, along with Ryan McLeod, as far as I can remember. Like that, the bottom 6 had a whale of a day there in New York. So I don't know. Like, it depends on what type of team shows up, and kind of go from there. But
you get amped up in these big games, though. Like, the best want to play against the best. So you don't think, like, to go into Madison Square Garden to play against the best in the league, like, McDavid's going to be fired up as shit. Like, Draisaitl will be raring to go. Nurse will be raring to go. And man, that's one of those games that could be a shock the world kind of moment. Like, look what the Oilers can do against the best team in their barn. I'm standing by it. We're going 3-0 this road trip. We're doing it.
I don't think the Rangers will ever forget getting turned inside out, upside down, and backwards on that.
I was in the building for that goal. That's not only the best goal I've ever seen live. It's probably the best goal I've ever scored. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah. No other way to put it. So the best line in hockey has been split up for this road trip as well. Thoughts on that? I guess we can start with Tess and go Kirk, and then Bobby.
Oh, I don't know. Don't make me go first again.
Wait, come on.
I know, honestly, I always say this. I know it's cliche, but I don't care who plays with who. Just figure it out and get it done. Work hard. Don't let off the gas. I couldn't care. I couldn't care less. The Oilers have some amazing talents. I don't care who plays with who. I really don't. I know that sounds cliche, but I just figure it out, get it done.
There you go.
You gotta kind of follow what Knobloch said there, like in his infancy there with the team. Lines have to have chemistry. You have to keep lines together. Sometimes you don't get the right kind of chemistry, though, and you do have to experiment. So, is it a shocker? No, but I'm going to follow suit with what Tess said. Just get the damn thing done. Just play hockey. Play simple. Who cares who plays with who? Just keep it simple and stick to that winning formula that they had there before. Like, you just active sticks and do the damn thing. Just keep it simple and have fun. And I still believe that they'll Actually, I think the stingiest game out of the three, believe it or not, I'm going to say this and stick with it. It'll be in New Jersey, because that barn, it can be a pain in the arse if they are feeling it that night. But yeah, I'm going to stick with the New Jersey game being the burn or saddle, I would say.
Well, first off, Tess nailed it on the head. Just get it done. I don't care who plays with who. 100%, I agree with that. Also, what you kind of referenced there, Kurt, was that Nalbach did say he likes to give his lines some chemistry, and so he does keep them together for a while. And all honesty, 3 of our 4 lines have been doing that. It's just right now, like the Leon line's been hit and miss. And so maybe we do need to change it up just to see if we can get it going. I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't work. He goes back to the way it was, probably mid-game again, especially if we're down early and we need that push.
Do you think they'll go to the nuclear deterrent there and pair Connor and Leon together, or no?
I think it's such a situational event where that's a thing. I mean, if we're gonna need it, then and why not? If we're going to need it, then why not? You have those assets. You have that as a weapon. So why not? When people are shitting on the fact that we got these guys together as a nuclear event, oh, look at us panicking. You got the 2 best players in the world. And if you have that option in certain situations, you use it. There's no other team. There's no other coach in the NHL that wouldn't try that at certain points of the game. Like, how can you not? In fact, you put Nuge out there with it and just give it a full push if you want. Why not? You have them all there. Sheesh. But yeah, just get it done. Whoever you play with, get it done. I'm throwing away the Florida game because that's not the way we've been playing. Like, even that loss against Tampa, we were the better team. We were just up against one of the best goalies in the world.
57 shots on net, man. You know how hard it is to get in an NHL game. Like, I'd like to see the shot attempts. I forgot. I think it was in the 80s or 90s for shot attempts. They blocked a whole bunch there too.
Yeah, I don't even get that many shots on PlayStation. Like, it's impossible to do.
Pittsburgh used to play Malkin and Crosby together when they were in trouble too. I mean, but it's not like it's something that's unheard of. If you need to use it, you use it. I feel though, like if you're going to go to that, I like to see those guys start together and you get up a couple goals and then go away from it. Like, that's the other way to play it. Whereas you're playing from a position of strength and not as a kind of, in case of trouble, break glass and put them together. Like, yeah. So this season has been an obvious roller coaster ride. And they play 3 games and then they have a little bit of time off and then continue a bit of a road trip. Where do you see these guys, kind of at in March? Are they in the middle of on the outside looking in, or are they kind of just clinging to a wild card spot? What do you guys think?
I think no, we're not. We're in the playoffs, and we're going to be in the playoffs, not in a wild card position. Like, we're gonna earn this playoff. We're gonna be one of the top 3 in our division to be in there. We probably won't get home ice advantage to start, and that's fine. We don't need it. But yeah, I think when the push comes to shove here, when we're looking at this situation here in March, we are going to be one of the teams that other teams are going to be scared of when the playoffs start.
What do you say, Kurt?
Well, top 3 in the division right now are Vegas, Canucks, and I might have the orders screwed up there, but
LA.
Excuse me, it was LA. And I figured that it wouldn't be Copley that's injured right now in net there. I figured Talbot's hammies would have been blown out there with how much he's been playing.
Or groin, yeah.
But yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I say wild card because you've got Arizona. I think the other one is Calgary, or no, it's not Calgary. I forget who's in the wild card position right now. It's very attainable. Like, if you maintain this pace right up until, well, they've got an easy schedule there in January. That's the time to make the hay. So, but the rest of, like, after once after the All-Star break there, that's where the rubber meets the road right up until the end of the season. But it's not hard. I would say that they will make the playoffs. It's a pretty hard nut to crack there with that top three.
What say you, Tess?
Yeah, I think just looking at where the Oilers are right now, and we're in mid-December, that start really hurt them. I think the Oilers will definitely be in the playoffs, but I'm thinking more wild card spot. Unless one of the teams above them really cools off. So, yeah, maybe Talbot. I'm not wishing this on him, but maybe he does get injured. He is playing a lot, so I'm gonna go wild card spot. Which I don't really care what position the Oilers are in going into the playoffs. It doesn't matter. Make it in, right? I mean, St. Louis proved that the year they won the Cup, right? They were at the bottom of the league in January and, went on an incredible run and made the playoffs and won the Cup. Not that I want the Oilers to just squeak in or anything, but, just make the playoffs, right? Be playing good hockey when you make the playoffs, right? Doesn't really matter to me. Home ice advantage, don't really care. I think they'll be in a wild card spot.
Yeah, just get to the dance. Once you get into the dance, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
This is a good comment we can feed off of two names saying, do you all prefer the playoff system with the wild card, or do you like the old top 8 per conference for playoffs? I won't make you go first. We'll go Kirk, Tess, then Bobby.
Not 7, but 8. Top 8, the old school way. I miss those days, the 1 versus 8. I hate to drudge up old memories there, Tess, but that 1 versus 8 there in 2006, like that's not all guts and glory. That's what it's made of, and you'll get surprises like that, and you see it like even in NCAA March Madness.
Yeah.
You'll knock off the top seed and everybody's mind's just blown, and everybody goes crazy. So yeah, I miss the old system. Will it change? I highly doubt it, because Gary Bettman's too goddamn stubborn to even freaking change anything nowadays. So that's my take on it.
It might be my age talking. I don't know, what is it? You can't teach an old dog new tricks, kind of thing. So I'm with you that way. I like the older format where first versus 8, because usually, more often than not, the better teams end up making it past. But you also have that the better teams moving forward. But you also have that aspect where you have those insane upsets that just has everybody, not just in the hockey world, but in the sports world, talking, right, when that happens. Now, I'm not against the wild card system. I thought that I understand the reasoning behind it, but yeah, I'm that old dog who I like it the way it used to be, right?
I'll make it 3 for 3, us oldies. Yeah, I like the top 8 per conference making it. And I was right before you said it, Kirk. That popped into my head. I'm like, it's like the NCAA tournament, right? You get those, every once in a while, that crazy, 16 seed beating a 1 seed, or 15 seed beating a 2 seed, and it's just so thrilling, right? Yeah, I mean, in the NHL, you don't get the 8 beating the 1 nearly as, I guess. It's a little different in the NCAA tournament just because, there's so many teams that make it in. But you still, every once in a while you get one of those upsets and it's exciting. But I liked that format better. The wild card it is what it is. Like I don't see it changing either. I don't like it as much as the top 8 per conference.
Yeah, top 8 and you speaking of like going back to the March Madness, like even the bettors would lose their minds. They'd be like, just like, what the hell? Like, we lost the pile of money on a sure thing. And that's the cool thing about it. And even fantasy teams, like just people just losing their marbles. That's the.
I don't know. My teams have been on the losing end of some of those crazy upsets. So a little bit, but yeah, it's exciting. Like the chatter when that happens. It's
Yeah, Twitter implodes.
So I got a question now, and Durst, I'll start with you since you're pointing at everybody else to go first. The the top three in our division right now are Los Angeles, Vegas, and Vancouver. And if we go by my prediction, which I understand I'm the only one predicting it, we're saying the Oilers are going to be in the top three and not in a wild card spot. Which of those three teams do you think have the capability of going into a similar slump that the Oilers just had that are going to peter out? What is the one fantasy scenario you can see of those three teams that the Oilers could usurp?
Man, if any of those three are going to go into a long, sustained slump, I would guess the Vancouver Canucks would be that team. Yeah, I think LA is. I think they're showing you who they are right now, and if Talbot can stay healthy, I think that's sustainable for them. Vegas, if they start to slide, they're not afraid to change their whole team in an instant. So I don't see that happening to them. I think Canucks are going to sustain what they've been doing as well. I think they've got the goaltending behind them to, hold the fort. But out of those three, if one is going to take a dip, I would pick it to be them.
Kurt, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with Durs. I think LA's too battle tested to let go of that grip. Same thing with Vegas. Like even that defense, I hate to admit it. I hate the Knights so much just because of what happened there last year, but they're stacked, like they're deep. So, and that leaves the Canucks. Like I think I'm a year behind on my predictions there. It seems like everything's coming true this year rather than last year, with Thatcher Demko there being a Vezina nominee because he's playing lights out for them, but they haven't been that far where they've sustained that kind of a lead. They built up their currency, no doubt, with a hell of a start to the season. But I think Miller's one meltdown away from it losing it all. So I wouldn't even say the defense. Well, the defense there is questionable at times there too. Sans Quinn Hughes, like Quinn Hughes is having a hell of a year there too. So, but yeah, it's definitely the Canucks. I would say the losers they're toehold on the top three for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, if I had to pick one of those three teams, just looking at how they're made up, if I had to, I'd say Vancouver. But I honestly, I don't really see them sliding much. And yeah, they've got, they've been hot from the beginning, and Quinn Hughes is the Quinn Hughes we knew he could be, and Brock Besser's having a good season, and I want to hate the Canucks, but I don't hate the Canucks. If you look at those top three teams, it's LA and Vegas that I can't stand, So, but yeah, if I had to pick one of those three, I'd say Vancouver.
I'm this kind of shocked me a bit because I thought for sure I might be the only person that says Vancouver. So we're going 4 for 4 for
the cycle.
Because I thought, like, for me, LA, like you're bang on, Kurt, they're battle tested. They still have a lot of the core there that knows how to get it done. The question mark there is, can Talbot keep up what he's doing, right? Because he is playing out of his mind right now, and can he sustain that? Who knows? Vegas's depth, especially their defensive depth. I mean, does it really matter who they have in net? I mean, if you can win with Aiden Hill, you can win with anybody, I think, with that kind of defensive depth. So, yeah, for me, it was the Canucks as well. Demko, though, in my mind, is the best goalie in the world right now. And he's definitely playing that way. Quinn Hughes, you're right, Tess, he is playing, kind of what we expected Quinn Hughes to be. He's kind of like, I can't say the next coming of Cale Carson's pretty much the same age, but kind of coming to that same kind of level. Pettersson is a premier for it. We knew that. I think guys like JT Miller and Besser are probably playing above their scale, though, right now. So those are two guys that could kind of peter out a bit. Ekman Larson. No, he's not Ekman Larson. Is it Ekman Larson that's there? No. Who am I thinking about?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
They have Zadorov and Myers as a pairing.
Myers, that's the guy I think about. I don't know why I was thinking Ekman Larson. Myers has impressed me, but that's another guy who's bounced back, and I don't think he's a guy that can sustain that kind of defensive skill that he's showing right now.
I got a question for Tess that she's not expecting, but favorite Yzerman moment.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. You're gonna make me pick?
Yeah. What we do.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be when they won the cup in '97. He waited so long. Yzerman's one of those players. He put his dues in. He played a long time before he won his first cup, right? So '97, he was 32. He just turned 32, and so he put his dues in. So when people start saying, Connor McDavid's in his 9th season, I'm like, there's plenty of players in the NHL that had to wait a long time before they won their first cup. And there was a lot of pressure on Yzerman. I mean, when he started with the Red Wings, the team was the laughingstock of the league. He wasn't even the player that the Red Wings wanted to draft. They wanted to draft Octane. Yzerman kind of fell to them in the draft. And then you look back and think, what an amazing career he had with Detroit. And he means so much to Red Wings fans. He's revered amongst Red Wings fans, and he's had a lot of great moments, but he put his dues in, and so when he won that cup in '97, their first cup in 42 years, that was just, I think everyone was happiest for Yzerman. That was an incredible moment, and I actually didn't get to see it live. I was in Europe when that happened, so I had to watch all the tapes. My parents were, God love them, they taped everything for me, all the VHS tapes, because it was the mid 90s, right? So had to come home from my study abroad trip and watch all the replays, but that was an incredible time. That was really exciting. He deserved it.
Imagine trying to explain to a kid now that you would tape over the ends of your VHS tape so you could tape over your parents' copy of Three's Company to tape a hockey game.
The MASH finale. Yeah. No, I still have those tapes. When I moved out on my own, my parents handed me a stack of, VHS tapes. They're like, well, we don't want these. They probably mean more to you, but I mean, I don't have a VHS player anymore. I guess I should probably convert them to current media, but they sit there in a corner in the basement with some
you can't
other VHS tapes and stuff like that.
Do you ever get the urge to digitize them, like convert them over, or no?
Yeah, I've thought about it. There's so many other things I have to do. They're safe there right now. Someday maybe I'll get to it, but
This Slappy Waggle one off of YouTube says, outside the cups, it's the slapper from the blue line.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he beat Fuhr from like a clapper from the red line?
No, this particular shot he's talking about beat John Casey because Grant Fuhr got hurt already in that one.
Yeah, so that was
in overtime.
But didn't Yzerman beat Fuhr like with a slap shot from the red line once?
Possibly.
I'm gonna have to look that up because I think
that was back in the days when players still took slap shots regularly, so it's definitely possible. But that was definitely, it wasn't a high percentage shot, but man, like that was one of those, like, talk about a timely goal, right? Because the Red Wings were behind the 8 ball in that series. They needed to win that game, and I mean, Yzerman came up big. Yeah, that's one that obviously gets so many replays, right? That was an incredible moment too. But so that's definitely up there.
It's probably the biggest goal he scored, though. Probably, just given the situation,
like you said, probably
behind the 8 ball and everything. So,
and I still remember that series too, because I remember when the Red Wings fell behind 2 games, and it was Yzerman. Yzerman was never a big rah-rah.
Oh, I lost.
No, that was a good. We had a good thing going there.
She might have just clicked the button or something happened.
Got so excited talking about Yzerman, she started slamming her hand on the keyboard, and we lost it. So
hopefully we get her back.
Yeah, the weird thing is, I want to share this when she gets back on, because I have a bit of a Red Wing thing too. Because everybody growing up in school, we were all Oilers fans, and so we really had no rivalry amongst ourselves. We always just root for the Oilers. So we decided once in high school that we were all going to pick a second favorite team, and we would cheer for them like they were the Oilers. Now we would have rivalry with each other, but yet when the Oilers played, we'd all get together and cheer for the Oilers. So it was my turn to pick a team, and then I picked Detroit Red Wings. So for the longest time, the Detroit Red Wings were my second favorite team, and to this day, they're my third favorite team. I have picked St. Louis as second because they did sign me to a contract, so that automatically makes them second. But I picked Detroit because my ultimate hockey hero was Terry Sawchuk, who predominantly his season was or his career was with Red Wings. But also, I was a huge Bob Probert fan. Bob Probert was the man, the toughest SOB on skates. I could watch it forever.
We got her back, and yeah, on April 25th, 97, Yzerman beat Fuhr from the red line.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened there. My connection disappeared.
We lost you for a minute, but
Yeah.
you're back.
I think the internet recognized this is an Oilers show, and you're talking too much about the Red Wings, maybe.
I know. I can't help it too. Hey, somebody asked, so I'm happy to. I will talk about the Red Wings and Steve Yzerman all day, but yeah, he was never a big rah-rah guy, but in that series, he stood up and made a speech, and next thing you know, the Red Wings came back and won the series.
I remember watching the interview with Steve Yzerman, and he credited Scotty Bowman for that, because Scotty Bowman changed the way Yzerman played. And Yzerman learned how to be a winner and what it takes to win, because Yzerman was a guy who scored 120 points a year and stuff like that back in those high-flying days. And when he turned over to more of a defensive game, I mean, he still racked up the points, but no longer was it 120 points. It'd be like 90 points, 80-some points. But his defensive game, all of a sudden he was known as like a stellar defensive forward, blocking shots. That one year they won, was it 97, where he's basically playing on one leg? He blocked a shot early in the playoffs, something like that almost busted his leg in half. This crazy.
That was later on. That was. Yeah, no, I can't remember. He's had some pretty brutal injuries. Yeah.
But it wasn't playoff run that they won.
Yeah.
And he was basically playing on one leg the whole time. So.
Yeah, and he had one year where he was like his whole jaw was basically in pieces. Yeah, like he's had some brutal injuries. He laid it on the line for his team for sure. He did.
Yeah, for sure.
He's kind of like Sawchuk in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Sawchuk, no mask as a goalie. I mean, you're gonna get 800 stitches in his face. Like that's ridiculous. Those guys are like they're superheroes to me. Like I can't believe that actually existed at one point where they played with no mask. That's wow, crazy.
Name's asking if you have an Yzerman rookie card.
I do not. I'm not a big hockey card collector. It's just I have some, but I'm not. I've never really been a big hockey card collector. My husband used to collect them. I know he doesn't have a Yzerman rookie card because I asked him. But no, I don't have an Yzerman rookie card. I do have his autograph.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do have his autograph on a photo. I've never had the chance to meet him. My dad has. I've never met him. And of course, I have his jersey. And some other memorabilia, but he was the reason why I fell in love with hockey for sure.
Nice. It's a good reason to have.
I feel like Name was asking because he's fishing because he might have one for you, but I can't be certain.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like Yzerman wasn't necessarily the flashiest player, and I know I'm continuing the Red Wings talk. I swear I'll shut up after this.
No,
but he
good.
he was never necessarily the flashiest player. I mean, obviously, he played during the same time as guys like Wayne and Mario, and so maybe he was overshadowed a little bit. I think people sometimes forget just how big of a scorer he was. Right? I mean, he's 7th overall NHL career points. He was no slouch. He wasn't maybe this big formidable, didn't do it with all the, flashy flash, but he was a great player.
I just got one quick question. I hate to pile on with the Red Wings questions, but what do you think of him as an executive now with the Red Wings as general manager? What kind of job do you think he's done here now?
I think he's done a good job. I know there's a lot of people that are really impatient, kind of sounds a lot like Oilers fans, right? When is it going to happen? When are the Red Wings finally going to turn the corner? When can we say, we're officially kind of moved out of the rebuild and we're on to, actually competing? I think, they had a really good start to the season. They've kind of cooled off a bit since. This, I think they could, if they keep going, fairly steadily, I think they have a decent shot at making the playoffs this year. for the first time in many years. I got spoiled for so many years. The Red Wings made the playoffs, 20 plus years in a row. So overall, I think Yzerman's done a really, really good job. I mean, he did a great job when he was in Tampa. He learned a lot while he was there. I think he continued that when he came to Detroit. Yzerman he's a smart hockey mind. Have I loved every move he's made? No, but overall, I think he's done a really good job. He's known for making some draft choices that kind of stun some people for sure. I think even this, this past summer, I think people were a little surprised by his choice in the first round. But overall, Yzerman has a reason for doing everything he does, and he puts a lot of thought into, the moves he makes, the players he signs, the players he drafts. He's made a couple moves I haven't necessarily agreed with, but overall, I think he's done a good job. And, he's a smart man, learned a lot when he was in Tampa.
So names kind of got an answer for you. So in response to that, I got something for you. Oh man! So
how do you call Yzerman not a flashy player? That he was a for
I think
five-time 50 goal scorer, twice scored over 60 goals. But he had 6 times over 100 points, 155 points one year.
Yeah, no, I didn't say he wasn't a great goal scorer. I just, when you look at who else was playing in the league at the same time as him, people are more likely to talk about Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, but I mean, he could score the flashy goals. And, earlier on in his career, that's what he was known for. It was the scoring, right? And like you mentioned, once Scotty Bowman came in, he had to, retool his game a bit. And he became an excellent two-way player and, won the Selke, right? So
that's not easy to do either.
No, especially later on in your career, right? So he was always a player too that was well respected by his fellow players, not just on his team, but around the league. So
100%. Yeah.
So I want to thank you both for joining us, Kirk and Tess. I asked Kirk on Saturday if he'd like to almost, come out as often as he can and basically be a regular with us. And
really?
He sort of nodded his head, and I said, "Well, damn, that's not how I expected that to go." And thanks, Tess, for joining us. If people want to follow you, how do they do that? And if you don't want them to follow you, don't answer.
Yeah. Oh wait, no. So I'm on. I think you had shared my Instagram handle. I don't know. I am still on. I guess it's not called Twitter anymore. I still call it Twitter because I can't. I am on X, though not as much as I used to be, but people can still follow me there. I'm on Instagram, T Bennett 77. I've kind of dabbled in some other social media apps, but nothing, probably X and Instagram are the best ways to follow me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I got a Threads account too, but nothing seems to ever happen there ever.
Yeah, same. I dabbled in that, what's the Blue Sky too, which I'm using that a little bit more, but I still don't have all the same people there. So I'm kind of moving around a bit.
Yeah.
So.
That's the way she goes. After Christmas, I think we'll probably do another run of apparel. So this is kind of the gear we did the first time. Came out pretty good. I'm thinking of kind of doing some new hats though, with just sort of the icon, maybe all in black and playing with a couple things, but we'll be looking at doing some more of that in January. Turned out good. There was stuff for the ladies, and the ladies hoodies and shirts came out excellent. Like the logo on there, it almost has like a shimmer or shine to it, and
Mike, I have to have a talk with you about the pink hat. I got a thing about pink apparel, and we'll do that another time. I won't get on your case too much right now.
That's a no for the pink hat. We'll sign you up for 5 of them, or what?
I got a thing about pink apparel for female sports fans. I don't know. It's not my thing.
I was,
but that hoodie looks good.
I was trying to
I
bring
could go with one of those.
I was trying to bring a unisex kind of flavor to it, but apparently that doesn't work for you. No, I'm gonna look at some other things too. Like I want to get some Under Armour just shirts, but more of like an athletic shirt, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that'll be in the new year though. Got to get through Christmas first. I was hoping maybe we could do some at the start of December and people could have them for Christmas presents, but life kind of happened and got in the way, and I had to replace my clutch in my car. So, so things had other ideas for me. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm not sure, like Christmas Day is next Monday, so I don't know if Bobby wants to do a show. If not, maybe we'll go Tuesday instead. But I mean, if you're open to it, we could go next Monday night again. Let people do their Christmas and during the day and have something to talk about at night. I don't know. It's up to you, Bobby.
I'm available. I'm on call, but I'm not expecting anything to happen. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's optional for you, Kirk. You're just a newbie, so yeah. But thanks everybody for watching. Name, you're becoming my regular go-to guy that always starts our show with a comment, and some stranger, Slappy Waggle. All you guys, I appreciate you. Pretty consistent viewership through the night for you guys. I tried to go to Instagram tonight, but I think I messed that up, so I have to work on how that goes. Yeah, thanks everybody, and I guess it's time for everybody's favorite cool down music. Oh, maybe we'll end with going around the horn with everybody's favorite Christmas movie first. What do you got, Bobby?
Oh, Die Hard, easily.
Kirk?
Yeah, Bobby stole it, but yeah, Die Hard. Die Hard's a really good go-to for me.
If you couldn't tell from my my background, I'm a big A Christmas Story fan. I love that movie.
Yes. If you move your head a little bit, I think you can see him licking the pole.
Yeah. That's
terrific.
Classic. Have to watch it every Christmas.
That scene made me cringe because I'm like, oh, ouch.
Brings back some memories, does it?
Possibly.
Yeah. Outside of Die Hard and falling off on Nakatomi Plaza at midnight, that makes it Christmas. I gotta probably go with Chevy Chase and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I think my favorite scene in any Christmas movie, other than him falling from Nakatomi Plaza, is finally turning the lights on and actually seeing the lights light up all of Chicago and all of the world and all of the earth. And yeah, that's got to be my favorite. Anyways, thanks for watching. Keep your sticks on the ice. Go Oilers, go. And let's get a win in New York tomorrow.
6-4 Oilers.
All right. Now we got to shout out a score.
2-1 Oilers. It'll be tight. 2-1 Oilers in a shootout.
I'm going 3-2 Oilers. Regulation.
All right. I'm saying we light it up. We're going to go 6-1 Oilers. And with that, good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas. Let's win a hockey game.